IVM.
Hey there, friend. If you're anything like me, then you have no clue what a mutual fund is, and your life might be subject to market risks too. So that's why you should probably listen to Paisa Vaisa by Anupam Gupta, who'll answer all your questions about mutual funds, financial planning, banking, all that money stuff. You know. Check out new episodes every week on the IVM podcast app and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Hello and welcome to the Geek Fruit Bulletin in a brand new year. Happy New Year, Tejas.
Hey, thanks, man. Same to you.
We're recording this in 2018, though.
Yeah, I know.
We are speaking from the distant past, but on the day you're listening to this, you are presumably in the throes of a new year.
I hope the world didn't does anything happen?
We'll probably make it till then. It's a brand new start, man. I'm excited.
I'm always excited.
2019 is going to be the best year yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it.
The entire 2018 years that passed before this, they were just warm up.
They were okay. Because, Aquaman was the last movie.
Hey, it's 2019, fresh start. Let's not talk about that stuff.
Cool, done.
So, it's a time of exciting things, but also let's talk about stuff from the past here. Because
wait, what? There was such a positive introduction to the new year, and we're still going to talk about 2018.
We're going to talk about, however, some of the nicest things we found in the last year.
Yeah.
Just cool, exciting, fun discoveries, whatever. It's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about nice things that we will take forward with us. Let's cast aside all the negativity and hate for everything that is gone and talk about what we want to carry forward with us going forward into 2019.
Definitely.
So what you got?
So, for those who know me personally, know I like to celebrate my birthday in some form or fashion of solitude. Mm-hmm. And I like to do a lot of weirder, but basically go out and see things that I don't usually do. And I'm a big museum junkie. Mm-hmm. And so I've gone to a few museums, this year and in my life, basically. Two museums that I absolutely loved seeing, which is what I wanted to talk about. One was in London, which is the Science Museum in London, which is amazing, and it's always worth a visit. And the cool thing about all public places in London, like museums, etc., they're all free. And you can walk in without paying a fee and stuff like that. They ask for a donation, which you can or cannot give. I cannot confirm whether they give dirts or not if you don't. Yeah. But if you go see it, there's a lot of great exhibits. And that made me think about our own museums here in India. And on my birthday this year, I went to the Nehru Museum, which is really good. And I feel like a lot of people don't know about, there are three places which are kind of in the same vicinity. One is the Nehru Planetarium, one is a Science Museum, the Nehru Science Museum, and then one is just the Nehru Museum, or the History of India exhibit. And I'm specifically talking this time about the History of India exhibit. It's a really good source of information about I know we are forced, in fact, to learn it when we're growing up in school and stuff, and because there's a feel of we're studying for examinations for this, and even though I loved history as a kid, there's something really nice to visit it as an adult it was not being forced on you, and you go and check it out and see all the things that are, written about Nehru. And man, the other thing that I learned is that Nehru is a G, man. I feel like he should be on a few notes as well.
He was always a G.
Yeah, but he's not on any notes.
There's only the original G.
Exactly.
Mr. G himself.
My biggest complaint about Slumdog Millionaire, obviously not Anil Kapoor, who we met this year, who was what a player.
What a player!
But he asked this silly question saying, who is on the 1,000 rupee note? And he's just who can it be? It's Mahatma Gandhi. He's on every note.
Yeah.
I feel like Nehru should be on a note. Man, Nehru is a proper G. Everybody, from Einstein to a lot of people. I mean, I know there's a lot of history, a lot of people go against him because he wanted to divide India a specific way, which might have been for the better. But, if you go check out this exhibit, see about his life, see about the history of India, really nerdy, really cool, very nicely made exhibit, and I had a blast at that this time.
They have rotating exhibits as well, which are the primary thing.
They do.
It's usually a very interesting way of bringing the history of India out, right? A lot of it is interactive, or you can walk through the exhibits and stuff, which is so good.
And they make little, design stuff. Yeah. And I love museums.
It's well curated. Some of the best work our country's doing. Yes. Of course, Nehru's never going to be on a note now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's out. Yeah. But there are three very nice institutions named after him in an area close to you, if you live in the Worli side of Bombay.
Yeah, in Worli, it's kind of it's next to Haji Ali, basically is it in Mahalakshmi? Does it count as Mahalakshmi?
I think it counts as Worli.
Okay, it does?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so there you go. It's in Wally.
But I mean, in a larger sense, what we're saying is like go out and seek out the real world things that bring alive some great stories.
Man, it's good to see stuff in a museum. Like, one of the funniest and kind of really, like, weird thing that I saw this time in the Natural History Museum in London was the very last of our history of mankind kind of exhibit. In one little cubicle, they have artifacts from the 90s.
What?
And there's Windows 93 or 95, sorry.
No way.
There's a Nintendo there and saying this is what people used to use. And in the gift section, they're selling a crude form of like an Atari kind of thing. And there were lots of young kids who are coming from school excursions. They come and they're playing it because it's a novelty thing. It's just like,
my God,
check out this quaint device which people used to play on. And I was just like, oh my God, I love this game. Man, it was weird.
That's awesome.
But having said that, in India, in Bombay specifically, there's the Bhadaji Lal Museum is beautiful. It's there's the Nehru museums. So go check out all of that stuff.
There's the CST Railway Museum, which I always ask people to check out.
Amazing
It's so
stuff.
good.
Yeah. So yeah, museums, man. I love
museums are great.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not specifically contained to 2018. It's just the time that I got to see them.
Exactly. So we're just talking about stuff that we found in 2018 or rediscovered, one might say, that we're going to carry forward.
Yeah. What do you got?
I got Wolverine the Long Night.
Man,
a fiction podcast.
So good.
Fiction podcasts are a really interesting space because I've always loved the idea of audio dramas.
I love radio drama.
Books are great. So Wolverine the Long Night was a legit great step forward for the form as a whole.
As in, I prefer audio. I prefer radio drama to audio book, in the sense that when it's an audio book, it's one person doing all the voices and just basically reading out the book and the dialogue, in quotes, whatever, in the book.
Radio dramas are acted out.
Yes.
Often with stellar cast. Like Wolverine the Long Night features Richard Armitage as Wolverine.
So good. And he's amazing. And just great
full of ringers and a great story. A very Wolverine-y story.
Solid.
Wolverine isn't even there for the first 3 or 4 episodes. I want to say he's a spectral presence.
Character, but the story revolves around his character. And the moments where Richard Armitage has to kind of play him, all the moments where he, in the first episode, he literally says one word, and it's so powerful, it works really well. And
it's really well done.
Yeah. The way they kind of even script the thing, it's done as a procedural kind of thing. Basically a series of interrogations and stuff by 2 detectives. Really cool way to kind of unravel the story.
And there's things about audio dramas that I feel you can't quite replicate with a TV show.
Yeah, you can't.
It still makes you work a bit. Like the opening of Wolverine the Long Night, for example, is this entire ghost ship sort of sequence where a ship is discovered where everybody on the ship has been murdered.
It's like Tales of the Black Freighter almost.
Exactly.
So good.
It's possible to create something that you don't have to rely on someone else showing you things, basically, which is great. It's something that there's this lost art called reading, which does a similar thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But with a couple of other layers, it feels immersive. You can close your eyes because, man, I'm tired of staring at screens.
Also that, man, I think there is something more valuable about it today than has ever been before. I mean, before there used to be a reliance on it, whether it's Orson Welles doing no, it's not Orson Welles. Who did War of the Worlds? H.G. Wells is War of the Worlds? I can't remember.
That was Orson Welles.
Oh, he did Wells did Wells.
Yeah.
Okay, and did the whole thing, and so much so that people actually thought it was reality. People actually thought the aliens were, So
I
from
believe
then
that's
to
a that's a bit of a myth.
It's a cool myth to have.
It's a cool myth.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff, and I think it's far more relevant today. I mean, this is literally a podcast you're listening to right now. So it's. I mean, I like that kind of stuff.
I feel. We might just notice a common theme here, that because the visual media, our film and TV landscapes are so overloaded, that we're leaning towards stuff that's slightly outside it. I really like the idea of listening to a great audio drama.
Yeah.
And I'm more excited about that than watching all of Daredevil. As good as Daredevil can be.
In fact, Daredevil is the perfect idea for a podcast, man. The man is blind. It would, from Daredevil's perspective, it would be perfect. Wouldn't that be awesome? Oh God!
What is the entire Daredevil podcast?
Hire us.
There was stuff like Daredevil hearing something where someone goes, and Daredevil's like, oh my God, I figured out what is happening.
God. Man, it would be really cool to do that. And I mean, especially in Wolverine, you get like this whole sense of this town, Bones, Alaska, right? You feel the chill and that weird cult thing that is there. Anyway, awesome. Everyone check out. And it's getting a season 2 next year.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of great fiction podcasts.
Man, Homecoming, man, they made it into a TV show.
I know.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen. But honestly, like the podcast itself is so good.
It's so good. It was, who was the main... Is it Catherine Keener in the original... I can't remember. I don't know why they just didn't cast the original cast. It was him. It was this one. Oscar Isaac was in it.
Oscar Isaac was in it. Natalie Dormer was in it. Was Benedict Cumberbatch in it?
No, he wasn't. That's Neverwhere.
That's Neverwhere, correct. Oh, sorry. Even Natalie Dormer's in Neverwhere.
Natalie Dormer's in
Homecoming.
Neverwhere. Yeah, right.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
But another great fiction podcast
awesome,
to check
man.
out.
So good.
There's so many good things to see.
Yeah.
Or hear.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have another thing?
I do. I'm playing a video game right now on the Nintendo Switch. This is something I purchased this year. So I love story-based games, and I think, gaming is amazing. But here's something really special about this game called Celeste, which I'm playing. It was the only game nominated in the Game Awards for the best game this year of 2018, which was not a hyper-realistic AAA game, made. Like God of War was there, Spider-Man was there, Red Dead Redemption, all years of work gone into these games. Mm-hmm. Not saying that it hasn't in Celeste, but Celeste is the only pixel art platformer that is on this list, and there's a good reason for it. One is that this game was made originally as part of a 48-hour gaming convention where you have to make a game in 48 hours and make it as good. And so these guys made it, and it was such a hit there that they converted it into a full game. And in the game, you can actually play the original game as a little Easter egg and stuff. But this game is it's a very simple story. It's about this girl named Madeline, and for some
reason... Celeste?
Yeah, no. Okay. So she wants to climb the Celeste, which is a mountain.
Okay.
She has to get to the top of the mountain. And she doesn't say why. She's just like, this is something I have to do.
Okay.
And as the story kind of goes on, and so two things. As the story kind of goes on, you realize that she's kind of recovering from a relationship, and it's very woke, and it's really it's like our speak, very millennial kind of, people talking about their past relationships or calling her mother, the relationships that we have in real life. It's there in a pixel art game, very realistic and true to who we are. Really awesome. The second thing about this game is that it's so unforgiving. I have died so far in this game, it counts basically your deaths, 1,572 times.
Holy crap.
So far.
Okay.
And basically what it is that every screen is one thing where you get only 2 moves. The whole move is jump and dash. You can do a mid-air dash.
Okay.
And you have to climb obstacles, go around, and so much so that you have to memorize the maps each time to get. And when you die, which is very common in the game, you immediately respawn. So it always gives you that thing no, I'm going to get it this time, no, I'm going to get it this time. And it's so brutal and unforgiving that it is absolutely addictive. And there is something so special about this kind of game that it's still pixel art, and and it was nominated for the best game of the year, which is absolutely true to why it should. I mean, it rightly so, because it's one of the best games I've played. Just so addictive and so good. And it just goes to show, Abhimanyu, my flatmate, and I, we keep talking about games a lot at home because we bought a PS4 Pro because we wanted to play Red Dead and Spider-Man and all these games. But, we've kind of come to the conclusion that we don't need any more hyper-realistic games. I think we've reached the pinnacle of how true it could look. It's brilliant. Facial expressions in Peter Parker, Mary Jane, all these people look so amazing. But that's not really what defines a game. It never has. And but we've kind of reached that point where we're wow, these games, this is it. We have reached that place where it's so brilliant, it's so amazing, but games can be made in any form or fashion and still have that thing about it, and it's Celeste is one of those games.
So we've reached the point of hyper-realism, and we've realized that's what games were chasing for the longest time, right? And now you're able to realize now that maybe the concept and the story and stuff matters so much more,
what
right?
we have been chasing all along.
It's the next evolution of video games as a form of art.
Man, and it's moving in every way, so many things about it. Just brilliant game. One thing I was just checking out also, my brother, he bought a new TV, and I was just with him recently, and we were just looking at these 8K TVs, and I was just man,
it's a lot of Ks.
What is the resolution of the human eye, man? I don't think it's that much. I think it's about can we perceive like this resolution, can we physically kind of do it? I don't know.
You can. So that's a lot more complicated. There's a lot of science to it. You can't exactly measure resolution of the human eye.
Yeah. Well, look,
and a lot of it has to do with viewing distance as well.
Of course, like depth perception, all that stuff. Yeah.
So the closer you are to something, the more the details matter. So an 8K TV for most living rooms is overkill.
Yeah. Because what? And also movies are not mastered in like... they're mastered in 2K, man.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, like, if you treated film and compared it to digital resolution, it's closer to 2K.
Correct.
So 4K is already like a step up there.
Man, I'm just like, even if we get like 4K stuff sometimes, like in video games, it makes a lot of difference because they are like rendering stuff in like super high capacity. At least it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Especially FPS and things like that. But like, it's just like I was just like wondering about that.
Yeah, that's a whole other...
So I mean, like it's like an extension of my argument to video games, like video games are great right now and I think we've reached. But I think like now it's time to kind of dive into, it's like movies, like we were talking about Aquaman, like the big CGI battles, whether it's Crimes of Grindelwald or whatever. And like those are not the things that are making you want to watch it. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's not spectacle anymore. Though Godzilla, I will watch the shit out of.
Godzilla looks great.
Right.
We will figure that one out.
Yeah.
Cool. Another guy I would like to add is a book called How to Invent Everything.
Right.
By Ryan North.
Ryan North, dude.
A man for our times.
Yeah.
It's great. I have a copy. I'll lend it to you.
Hey, man, how did you get it? Because I wanted to get that for you for your birthday, but it was unavailable. Yeah, the
Thank
Kickstarter. Sorry, I was telling your sister this also. But I was like...
It's the thought that counts. I thank you for the thought.
How did you get your hands on it?
It was available on Amazon.com.
What?
Yeah.
But wasn't it this is his Kickstarter book,
It was a Kickstarter. It kickstarted and now it's a massively successful book.
So his Kickstarter wasn't selling to, like it was, you couldn't fund it delivering to India.
Yes. But it got kickstarted as like, and now it's a massively successful book. I think it was a bestseller. And, the whole rigmarole.
Man's a genius.
He's doing great. He's now, he started off with a webcomic made out of clip art.
Correct.
And now he's a legit Marvel comics writer and stuff. Yeah. So he's doing great. But How to Invent Everything, which I would encourage everyone to check out, is basically, the premise of the book is that it's the manual for the Time Traveler 3000.
Correct, yeah.
And you have found that manual because you traveled back in time and your time travel machine is broken down. And so they're like, see, there's two ways to do this.
Yeah.
You can either like basically break the laws of physics and go forward in time, which is not possible.
Yeah.
So here's a simpler thing: rebuild civilization from scratch.
Yeah.
And then it basically uses that as an excuse to talk about history, science, art, pretty much everything in a great, really entertaining way.
Man, I love all these like thought projects, like Randall Munro obviously is a genius also that way, like XKCD is one of those things.
And
but
his
I love
What
these
If book.
His What If book is like, I've not finished it, but like it's very much in the same vein of like just amazing thought experiments
basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if everyone on Earth jumped at the same time?
Exactly.
He uses actual science and explains it. This is what would happen.
He would do that on XKCD also, obviously. Like one of my favorite things of his was inventing the 8-day week, and but it doesn't follow the solar like cycle. It's brilliant, like so funny. And like by the 8th day, the guy who tried to do this just like he's exhausted, he collapses and he dies. It's just so funny, man. But yes, good science, good stuff. Good nerdy stuff out there.
I guess we're saying in 2019, let's
more of this.
Educate ourselves.
Yes.
Go to museums and read books.
And listen.
Listen to stuff while playing video games.
Yes.
It will be a good time.
Just avoid Netflix and the cinema, which is what our podcast is about. All right, cool. Let us know if you found anything really exciting from 2018 or discovered anything cool, like in this fashion.
Yeah.
Let us know. Yeah.
All right. This has been the Geek Food Bulletin.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.
Hello everybody, we have a brand new daily podcast we're working on with Bloomberg Quint. All you need to know provides the top news on business, markets, and the economy so that you can stay ahead of the curve. Tune in every morning on BloombergQuint.com, the IVM podcast app, or wherever you get your podcast from.